Hello and welcome to this special 4th of July edition of the Capitol Report on NTD television. I'm Steve Lance. Unfortunately, we have some sad news to break at the top of the show. At least 6 people are dead and dozens of people wounded after a shooting at a July 4th parade in a Chicago suburb. Officers are searching for a suspect described as a white male wearing a white or blue t-shirt. Police say the suspect was shooting from a rooftop. Hundreds of parade goers, some visibly bloodied, fled the parade route, leaving behind chairs, baby strollers, and blankets. Congressman Brad Schneider was at the start of the parade when the shooting started. He said he and his team are safe and secure and that he's monitoring the situation closely. Multiple Chicago suburbs canceled their 4th of July events after the mass shooting in Highland Park. Thousands are in the nation's capital tonight to celebrate the day our country was born. Many are now waiting to see the fireworks show after watching a parade march down Constitution Avenue earlier today. NTD's Melina Wisecup brings us a look.
I love freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Here is quite wonderful and you shouldn't take it for granted.
Costella is a new U.S. citizen celebrating alongside others who want to remind everyone to cherish the opportunity to live in the land of freedom.
The situation around the world has changed drastically, and sometimes when we're in the U.S., we don't appreciate the freedoms that we have. Freedom of expression, tolerance, respect, the right to prosper.
The crowd gathered along Constitution Avenue to enjoy the festivities, floats, bands, and dancers. It's called America's biggest and best Independence Day parade.
This parade in the heart of the nation has gathered folks from all across the states and all across the world. We asked people in the crowd what it means in this day and age to be a proud American.
People having a thought or an idea and taking action on that, and fighting for freedom.
To be an American, it's to have freedom and independence, and I'm excited to share that with my kids.
Of all places, Washington, D.C. is where to tap into the pulse of the country and the history of our founding story and our traditions. Traditions that many say we should get back to.
Getting back to God and serving Him. I feel like this country has walked away from Him and turned their back on Him. And we should love each other and welcome each other. And I feel like this country's been filled full of hatred for so long against each other. I feel like we just need to come back together and be one again.
Others sharing a similar message say American values are based on our differences being respectfully embraced.
We have to be reminded of what unites us, not necessarily of what divides us. If we keep going to the extremes, that's not what we're about. And I think that's what's caused the divisiveness.
About not letting the individualities, the differences, the differences in culture and color and race and ethnicity divide us, but let us be a reason for us all to come to the table and talk to one another, because they can be embraced even if we don't agree.
This inspirational message is spread tonight across the nation as people gather to commemorate the day our country was born. Reporting in Washington, D.C., Melina Wisecup, NTD News.
And among those celebrating America's values, one group is highlighting the importance of religious freedom and freedom of speech. NTD's Iris Tao has their story.
Here in Washington, D.C., in one of America's largest Independence Day parades, a marching band with traditional Chinese costumes and a float with peaceful music, celebrating America's founding principles of freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Unfortunately, in China today, thousands of practitioners have lost their lives simply for believing in their freedom. And we're extremely lucky to be in this democratic American society, to be able to spread the beauty of the Dafa and the peacefulness of our practice.
The Tianguo marching band has members from all walks of life, and they're all practitioners of Falun Dafa or Falun Gong, a traditional Chinese meditation practice based on the values of truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. Yet it's severely persecuted in China by the Chinese Communist Party due to the practice's spiritual nature and popularity. I asked one of them about what they cherish the most on American soil.
I think definitely the freedom of religion, freedom of belief, and be able to freely speak what we want to, especially given the current environment that's in China.
And what is one message they want to get through your music?
I want to say that Falun Dafa is a very wonderful practice, and we hope to be able to share the beauty of and joy.
And besides those who have long cherished and enjoyed the freedoms here, this Falun Gong practitioner just fled the persecution in China and came to the U.S. 3 months ago.
The United States is for freedom and the symbol for freedom for all over the world, and I just want to tell the free world about the truth, how CCP persecutes all good people.
And the audience sharing with us their thoughts on the ban and the story behind it.
We take for granted for what we have here in America, and for them to go through what they've gone through and come here, that's something that I would never ever understand. And so for them to come and do that, I applaud them wholeheartedly.
To celebrate our independence is amazing.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of energy, a lot of their emotion is produced, is put in a positive fashion. So whatever negativity they've experienced, they're moving toward a positive one, which is great for society. All of us. There's a lot of different nationalities here, and we're all the same. So bravo for them. Awesome.
Reporting Washington, D.C., Iris Tao, NTD News.
Beyond the celebrations and fireworks, what's the true meaning of today to every American? Retired Lieutenant Colonel Alan West joined us to talk about the historical significance of the 4th of July and the founding of our country. Here's a look. Colonel Alan West, thank you so much for joining us in the Capitol Report.
Steve, thanks for having me, and a happy Independence Day to you.
Same to you, Colonel. Obviously, July 4th is upon us here. Take us beyond the fireworks, if you could, and tell us what this day means to you.
This day, you know, when I think about the longest running constitutional republic that the world has ever known and the uniqueness of the United States of America, in that 246 years ago, we created a nation that was based upon the sovereignty of the individual, because our inalienable rights, our life, our liberty, our property, our pursuit of happiness, those rights come to us from a creator God, the Judeo-Christian faith heritage God. No other nation has been built upon that premise. And when those 56 men signed their names, they signed a death warrant. I mean, it was about committing treason, but they asked for divine providence as they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. And I think that that's what we have to remember, and that's what we have to honor. You know, has the United States of America been perfect? Absolutely not. But, you know, that's why it says in the preamble of the Constitution, in order to form a more perfect union. And so when I look at a kid that was born in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, in a blacks-only hospital, now I get the opportunity to be interviewed by you on Independence Day. That's what we are fighting for. That's what we want to continue to preserve. Now, as a military man, the thing that I love about being a soldier was the fact that on June the 14th of 1775, we created the United States Army. Its motto was, "This will defend," because the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps were established before there was this thing called the United States of America, because of this incredible ideal that understand about individual freedoms, liberties, and rights that we wanted to preserve and protect. So this is a great day for me. I enjoy it. I love it.
Colonel, you served this country for more than 2 decades in the military, and thank you for that. How did your career in the military shape your appreciation and dedication to the country?
Well, when you are, you know, in faraway lands and you see young men that lose their life in service to this nation, that's very emotional for you. When you're in faraway lands and you see that flag that is flying over your base camp, that's very emotional for you, because you know, the United States of America, we don't go and look for conquering other lands or things of that nature. We go to try to extend that understanding of individual freedoms and liberties. And so whether it be in Iraq, as I was, or Desert Shield, Desert Storm, or Afghanistan, or even standing on freedom's ramparts there in Korea in 1995, right along the DMZ, it's all about preserving and protecting the basic fundamentals of individual rights, freedoms, and liberties. And so seeing young men and young women now today who are still willing to do that, my son-in-law right now is at Army Basic Training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And the fact that they're willing to make the last full measure of devotion, and you think about all of those who have made the last full measure of devotion to keep this nation over 246 years, that's what it means to me, having served in the military and honoring this day.
So I've been calling and referring to you as Colonel. I could also, refer to you as Congressman. You are a former Congressman. You served in the House of Representatives. What was that experience like, sharing the same halls with the likes of so many historical figures that built our nation?
What an incredible thing. And what I, used to love the most, Steve, was getting up early in the morning and still doing that morning Army PT run and seeing the Capitol in the early morning light and seeing it illuminated there and thinking how special it is that a guy that used to once serve to protect that institution is now serving in that institution, continuing that oath to support and defend the Constitution. And when I think about the incredible people that were there, and I used to go through, Statuary Hall and look at some of those statues that were there and think about Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, all of those folks that had served as members of the House of Representatives. That's an incredible legacy, and it is something else to be a part of that.
Colonel Allen West, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. And again, happy Independence Day. 246 years in the greatest nation that the world has ever known.
Happy Independence Day to you. Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.